Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today, in our ongoing pursuit of finding historic sites relevant to the Iowa-class battleships, we have come to Carderock, Maryland, home of the Taylor Test Basin, which is where the U.S. Navy tested the hull form of the Iowa-class battleships. Pretty famously, the Iowas have a very unique long and narrow hull form with that really sweeping bow design. That was all tank tested right here. And not just the Iowa class. Every single class of ship and submarine that the US Navy has built, and many of the ones that they decided not to build, have been tank tested here, going back to before World War II. And we've gotten to see some of those models while we took the tour here. Today is their open house. The Taylor Test Basin was open for the international submarine races, where 17 submarines from 16 different schools and something like 6 different countries have come to participate in racing man-powered submarines. H.L. Henley doesn't have anything on what these guys are building. They're going way faster than that Confederate boat. So come on inside and let's see the test basin. Admiral David Taylor was the first American to come up with the idea of tank testing models of ships to test hull forms. He's doing this right around the birth of the new Navy, the Steel Navy that becomes the Great White Fleet, when shipbuilding goes from being an art form like it was with the older wooden ships to being an actual science. And you see a lot of false starts with that science, like this famous picture of Battleship Connecticut just brute forcing her way through the water. Tank tests subsequently learned how to make ships more hydrodynamically efficient. The original tank that Admiral Taylor built was on the Washington, D.C. Navy Yard, and that space ended up being too small. Washington is built on a swamp, so it flooded out periodically. It had some problems, so within a couple of decades of that building being constructed, the Navy moved here to Carderock, Maryland, where they could build a significantly longer tank. And the tank that we have here is more than half a mile long. You can't see all the way down because the lights aren't on, because thankfully they're not making the college kids hand pedal their submarines down the full more than half a mile, something like 5/8 of a mile run of this tank to be able to do these tests. But it gives them the room to be able to test models. They have 5 different tow sled rigs that run on rails, like these here, and those allow them to test models of various sizes at various speeds. The fastest one can tow a model at up to 50 knots, and can tow it for just under 3,000 feet down the basin here. There's actually 2 basins, a larger one and a smaller one over on the side, so you can do multiple tests. And perhaps the coolest thing about this basin is it has these wave-generating walls on the far end where we're not allowed to go down and film today, that will make waves so they can test various sea states and how their hull form will perform going through those waves. Now, with the college kids and their hand-powered submarines or foot-powered, they're manually powered submarines that they're testing today, they don't need any wave action to oppose them. This year is the 18th annual international submarine races that are being held here in Carderock, Maryland. Ever since 1993, these races have alternated 1 year here in the United States, 1 year over in the European Union. So every other year, it's hosted here. If you're interested in more information about the international sub races, there's a link in the description below. This year's obviously has just happened, so you've got the same 2 years to start building your submarine at your school that these guys had to build theirs. The other really cool thing that we got to see here at the Taylor Test Basin is the Navy's collection of models. So in addition to models like these on the shelves next to us that are some of the former tank test models, the Navy also stores its more traditional like display model collections here. And these models are rotated out from the storage located here at the test basin to different display areas around the world. So things like the Smithsonian and the Navy's museum system draw their models from the collection here, as do things like government offices and embassies. Now, you guys have watched movies before, or the President's office or the Admiral's office or whatever, Hunt for Red October, and there's always a model ship in the background of those movies. Well, having been in a couple of these offices, that's absolutely true. Every Chief of Naval Operations, every Secretary of the Navy, every Admiral has a model ship in their office, and more often than not, they're drawn from the Navy's collection right here. So it's really cool to see their storage, and of course, Battleship New Jersey has a number of models that have been donated to us, so it was interesting talking to their curator to find out what the best way is to preserve them, how to display them, how to maintain them long term. Because obviously the Navy has been doing this for way longer than the museum has. We'd really like to thank the folks at the Taylor Test Basin for letting us come in and film today during their open house, and we'd like to especially thank the folks from the National Museum of the United States Navy that got us permission to come in and to film. So without their help, we wouldn't have known about today to be able to be here. They are in the process of building a new museum. The previous National Museum was on the Washington Navy Yard, which means since 2001, access to it has been limited. So they are working on building a new, larger museum off of the Navy's campus so that everybody can come in and visit. And there's a link in the description below if you'd like to find out more information about them and see ways you can donate to their museum. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. Remember to consider supporting the National Museum of the United States Navy, who supports us in some of the exhibits we do and some of the trips we get to make. You can also support us by liking, sharing, subscribing so more people find out about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.